Hello travelers, my name is Bree, your favorite tour guide, and today we're going to build a Viking-inspired Christmas village filled with all your favorite North Pole animals. Buckle up and let's go! For the layout of this village, we're only going to use circles. I was inspired by the real Viking town of Birka for these designs. Birka was not only a settlement, but a trading town, and was responsible for handling goods all throughout Scandinavia and the rest of Europe. The key point in the design that inspired me so much were the circles within circles, creating protected inner and outer rings of each section. To make these rings in Planet Zoo, I set my desired barrier length and adjusted the angle snap rotation. Once these were good, I just kept on clicking and adjusting until it made a circle. I want to have a farm in the middle of our little town where guests can interact with some of the animals. So I added in the short guest gate and adjusted the height of the fence accordingly. For the buildings, I decided to stick with the pre-made ones from the Arctic Pack for their Christmassy Viking charm. I put all of the guest buildings towards the entrance and all of the staff buildings on the other side. By placing them and giving them a little rotate, I was able to set the buildings all facing inward toward a path that we'll add later. Traditionally, these buildings would have been homes or storage, all facing a longhouse or banquet hall. But here, they're going to be restaurants and gift shops looking towards the center enclosure. The staff buildings make up the rest of the village and include important structures like the zookeeper hut, the quarantine center, and the animal trading center. The outer ring was almost too big to see. While you watch me struggle with that, I will tell you about the animals that are going in today. There will be two kinds of animals living inside the village. These animals are both famous for their thick winter coats and ability to do well with harsh climates. They are both domesticated and provide for those who house them through meat, milk, and wool. I am talking about the Highland Cow and the Hill Radnor sheep. The Highland Cow is having quite a moment right now, and for good reason. They are wonderfully adorable, amazingly durable, and truly just one of the finer things on this planet. In October 2023, I actually got to meet some of the Highland Cattle in the Highland Cattle Park in Glasgow, Scotland. Now that the outer ring is done and lined up, it's time for the last ring that goes in between the village and the outer wall. This will serve as a habitat barrier for next week's animal and as a separation for the other enclosures. Guests will be able to wander the entirety of this area once it's complete. Getting the last part of that lined up is always the best. Moving back inside the village now, I added more guest gates to combine the inner and outer enclosures and worked on setting up the pathways so they are easy to connect. I also worked on filling the empty buildings and turning them into shops and restaurants. For your dining pleasure today, you can choose between a hamburger or ice cream to eat and water or hot coffee to drink. I placed the hanging brand signs for each shop and began connecting all the paths and buildings together. Now guests can access everything and go into the center farm. While I get rid of the old entrance and begin the fine decorating, let me tell you more about the Hill Radnor sheep. They are native to the more mountainous regions of the United Kingdom and have more of a tan-colored complexion than other sheep. Their faces and arms are a tannish gray, while their bodies are more of a cream color. Their wool is not very long, but sports nice, thick strands that are quite curly. This texture and color is what sets them apart from other British breeds. For the center of the town, where our lovely sheep and cows will be living, I wanted to give them something festive. The pre-made Arctic shelter is perfect for this. By redoing the top section, I'm left with a flat base to add a Christmas tree to. Give it a spin and it's good to go. Now it's time to add some food, water, and toys to the farm. There are two kinds of animals going in here, and I wanted to make sure that I had stuff for both of them. They can share food and water but need different kinds of toys. Luckily, the Planet Zoo sorting function makes finding the proper toys really easy. Let's bring them in and see how they like it. While the first animals arrive, so do the first guests, and I'm realizing that adding some picnic tables and trash cans by the eating areas might be best. These tables come with matching tent-like covers that are just super cute and too fun not to use. Now to check on the animals and see how they're settling in. It seems the sheep are not very happy with the lack of grass in the enclosure. That's most likely due to the large amount of snow. Our Highland cattle are unfazed, but I noticed that I never added proper bedding to the shelter, and that should help them feel more at home here. Some wintry decor will also help, and these berry shrubs and dried grass add a touch of color and texture. My favorite decor items in the festive category are these little tiny Christmas trees. Adding a heater to the barn will make it more cozy for the animals and guests and should help with the sheep terrain needs. I lowered the heat range just a little bit so it would fit better inside the farm, and then began working on adding dirt and sand to the pathway to make it a bit more realistic. I wanted to decorate the rest of the inner circle but needed to see where all the pathways were. Laying down more heaters helped with this problem. As I work on filling in all the empty space with plants, I will fill your time with more facts about the Highland cow. They are often referred to as hairy coos, as coo is the old Scots word for cow, and are the oldest known variety of cow. They come in a wide range of colors, varying in shades from white to brown, with red being the most common. Traditionally, they were mostly black. Due to selective breeding in the Victorian age, red is now the dominant color. They have a longer lifespan than most other domestic cows and can live up to around 20 years old. They are quite famous for having a gentle demeanor and are very friendly. The ones I met definitely lived up to that and enjoyed being pet and even eating food from my hand. Let's make it nighttime and add some lights to our little town. I didn't realize how much light the Christmas tree gave off, and some of the buildings even have little torch lanterns already on them. These Nordic lights will fit in the best. I'm just going to add a few around the inner circle. To increase our education rating, I'm going to add these signs and match them to the correct animal. The signs also have speakers built in, so as long as guests are kind of near them, they can hopefully pretend to learn something. I decided to add in a hand washing station for the guests to use in the petting zoo area. I also added some donation boxes close to the farm entrance. The last thing I did was to connect the keeper gate to the enclosure. To tie everything together, I lowered the height of the wall to match the guest gate and placed a few of these lovely pine trees throughout the village. That concludes today's tour. If you enjoyed, be sure to tip your tour guide by liking or subscribing, and I will see you next week. Okay, bye!